everyone! So today we are going to be reading a story that I found on Reddit, and basically I just thought about reading these stories. These are like very scary stories, so basically I just thought maybe reading them would be really fun. Yeah, so this story is called The Social Media Crush Gone Wrong. I just want to say, when this all happened, I was 18 and I was young, innocent, and naive. Now that I'm in my mid-20s, I would never let this happen again. It was my freshman year at college, and as could one imagine, I was excited to be on my own for once in my life. So excited to be on my own, I decided I was going to take summer classes on campus. That way I wouldn't have to worry about coming in when the big crowd of freshmen came, and I would also already know where everything was. Plus, it meant I could get away from my parents faster. But mainly, all I could think about was boys. You see, I had never dated anyone through high school, so I thought I would find my one true love at college. Because of course, that's what all the movies told me anyways. Also, before we continue with the story, I'm really bad at reading and speak reading. I get tongue-tied and I'm just really bad at reading out loud. So this is good practice. About 2 weeks go by, me and one of my roommates, I had 4, were hanging out in the lounge area showing off pictures from Instagram of our friends, family, etc. Well, my roommate, I'll call her Tracy, showed me a picture of her and these 2 guys. One of the guys was Tracy's boyfriend, and the other was Tracy's boyfriend's best friend. I'll call him Sean. Now, Sean was very attractive, and I told Tracy that he was hot, and she told me that he went to a tech college near us, and he was single. Now, a day or 2 goes by after this, and she tells me she told Sean that I was interested in him, and he wanted to know if he could follow me on Instagram so he can DM me. And at the time, I trusted Tracy because she seemed like a cool, chill girl. So excitedly, I told her yes. I wish I never told her yes. I talked to Sean for about a week before I was comfortable enough to give him my phone number. At first, he seemed super sweet. He would always send me a text message in the mornings telling me to have a good day at class, and he couldn't wait to FaceTime me that night. And we would FaceTime every night. At first, I loved it because I never had a boy give me so much attention. And like I said before, I had never dated anyone, so I was just over the moon that he was even interested enough in me to talk to me. But it started to get annoying. He would text me almost every second of the day and try to FaceTime me at least 4 times. When I wouldn't respond to him, he would ask if I was okay, why I wasn't answering him. If I was seeing another guy, it would make him really mad if I was. I, of course, once seeing the messages, I would try to reassure him I was okay and I wasn't seeing anyone. Like I said in the beginning, I was young and naive, so I didn't see it as a red flag. Things kept going downhill though. It came to a point where he started asking me for pictures of me. Either just selfies or pictures of me in the mirror. I wouldn't send them though, because I wasn't comfortable. And he would brush it off saying that was fine, and I could send him pictures of myself to him whenever I was ready. One day, I was in class for a long time because it was lab and it started at 7 p.m. and it wouldn't end until 10 p.m. that night. For those of you who don't know, labs in college can last from 2 to 4 hours, and mine just happened to be 3 hours that night. Once class ended, I headed up to my dorm and took out my phone. I clicked the button on the side, lighting up the screen. 380 unread texts, 10 missed calls, and 3 voicemails from Sean. Before I could even react or even read all the messages, my phone started to ring. Instead of being Sean, it was my dad. He had called me to make sure if I was alright, because he got an alert from the phone company that had gotten all those messages. I was still on his phone plan. I don't know why, but I lied to him and laughed it off, saying I was just in a group chat with a bunch of girls from school. Once I got off the phone with my dad, I quickly went to look at the messages I had gotten. Most of them were demanding why I wasn't answering him, and he would come and find me if I didn't answer him. The voicemails were crude and mostly of him saying how he was going to find me, and when he did, he was going to punish me for not answering him. After this, I just completely blocked him on everything I could think of. Completely freaked out about the whole thing. About a week goes by and I start to slowly forget about the incident, trying not to think much about it. At least that was what I was trying to do. That whole week, I felt like someone was watching me, but I brushed it off as me being paranoid. At the end of the week, my roommate Tracy, who I had been avoiding, comes to me shouting at me, saying how I broke Sean's heart, and he had called her crying, saying he didn't understand why I stopped talking to him. I couldn't even get a word in because of how fast she was talking. She finally called me a self-centered bitch and walked away. I went to class after that, not realizing I forgot to lock my dorm room. You see, I lived with 4 girls, and each girl had their own room, which would lock from the outside with a key. But when I came back from class, I noticed that my door was cracked, open slightly. My heart dropped into my stomach. I hesitated going in. My hands were shaking terribly, but I finally got the nerve to push it open. Nothing. There was nothing out of place, it seemed. Even though there was nothing out of place, I could have sworn I closed the door before leaving for class. Though I don't remember if I locked it or not, I know for sure I closed the door. So I asked my roommates, including Tracy, if anyone had gone into my room today. And they all denied it, even Tracy. But I just knew in my heart someone had been in there. I tried to brush it off, but I couldn't. So one weekend, when I knew that all my roommates were going to be out of town, I switched dorm buildings and roomed with a girl I had gotten to be close friends with. After I moved in with her, I told her all that had happened, and she said that she would walk with me to my classes, which thankfully we had most of our classes together, except the night lab I had. And she would walk with me to my lab and wait until my lab was done to walk with me back to the dorm. One night though, she had gone out of town to see her parents or something. I was walking back from the lab and it had gone really late that night again. I heard someone walking behind me, but I didn't pay any kind to it since class was just let out. But as I was walking, I could hear the steps getting closer, so I started to pick up my walking speed. At this point, I could tell someone was following me, and I was too afraid to look back. As the footsteps increased and got faster, I started running as fast as I could. Now let me tell you, I'm not athletic by any means. Somehow though, adrenaline probably, I was able to sprint into my dorm building, hearing someone still running behind me, and I thankfully already had my key cord out to get into the building, and I swiped it on the door and slammed it behind me. Looking up from slamming the door, I see someone who's probably about 10 feet away from the door staring at me. Even though through the person's hoodie that was up and I couldn't see their face, I could. Just they were looking at me. I just knew it was Sean. Not wasting any time, I go to the RA that was up that night, bullying, telling them what just had happened. He called the police and told them everything that happened, but they basically said they couldn't do anything since I didn't see his face, even if I thought it was Sean. And maybe I was just paranoid since it was nighttime and I was walking by myself. After all this, I called my friend and told her what happened, and she never went out of town again if I had my late night classes. I eventually decided college wasn't for me and I dropped out. I moved back to my home state and went to cosmetology school and became a hairdresser. I still haven't dated anyone yet though. Maybe it's the fear of something like that happening again. I'll never know. I do know that I'm super careful with who I talk to now and who I give my social media and phone number to. I'm still scared to go to places by myself, even though it's been years and I'm states away. Even so, Sean, let's never meet again. So when I read that, that shocked me. Like I don't know, that was just like, that's like a pretty scary story. Like something to deal with by yourself, and especially like your friend's supposed to be there for you. An awful situation to be in and be alone. So I don't know, I just thought it's even more scarier if you're in a situation like that and you're alone. But thank God she had a friend that she can be with and talk to. Be careful with who you talk to. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm thinking about reading more scary or nice. But yeah, so that'll be it for today's video. Okay, all right, bye.